A lot of crazy stuff happens in Hotline Miami. Random phone messages are left on people's phones, people dress up in animal masks and attack Russian gangsters, and janitors clean. Among the chaos of the games is a mysterious organization named 50 Blessings. It poses as a patriotic organization dedicated to maintaining American pride. However, there are more things happening behind the scenes. Using information from the games, let's try and determine what 50 Blessings really is, what its goals are, and lastly, who leads the organization. Now, as I've previously said, 50 Blessings poses as a patriotic organization dedicated to maintaining American pride. Their organization has its own special symbol, which is a circle with 3 horizontal lines cutting through it. They graciously accept volunteers to help them accomplish their supposed goal and distribute newsletters to them. However, this organization has a dark secret. During the events of Hotline Miami 1 and 2, we find that people have been receiving mysterious phone messages. These messages ask for seemingly innocent jobs to be done, but in actuality, they're ordering the people to go to local hideouts of the Russian mafia and kill the gangsters inside. While these people may lose their lives in these attacks, there are also grave consequences for those that disobey the messages. At the end of the first game, a character named Biker manages to trace the source of the calls and finds the messages are left by 2 janitors who double as 50 Blessings agents. After Biker hacks into their computer and interrogates the janitors, he finds that with the help of powerful friends, 50 Blessings intends to get America back on its feet by toppling the Russo-American coalition. The coalition they're referring to is a partnership formed between the US and Russia in the aftermath of the nuclear bombing of San Francisco by the Soviet Union, which was the culmination of a war fought between the two countries. After this tragedy, the coalition was set up to prevent full-scale nuclear war between them. It allows the US and Russian presidents to regularly meet to discuss policy and current events in an effort to maintain peace. However, rumors soon emerged that the Russian-American coalition had ties to the Russian mafia. And this, coupled with a massive influx of Russian immigrants, led many Americans to feel that this cooperation with the country responsible for the San Francisco bombing was a betrayal to the American people, and strong anti-Russian sentiments began rising. 50 Blessings was created during this period of anti-Russian sentiments, and they noticed the connection between the Russo-American coalition and the Russian mafia. In an effort to restore the U.S. to its former glory, they played off the anti-Russian sentiments and recruited volunteers to begin systematically destroying the Russian mafia, which they did through the use of the coded phone messages. At least once, they even directly attacked the Russo-American coalition when they tasked one of their volunteers to assassinate members of the coalition. These attacks further increased the anti-Russian sentiments in America, and violent protests and attacks on Russian immigrants began increasing. All of this puts pressure on Russian-American relations, and the Russo-American coalition calls a conference for the presidents of the countries to deliberate these events. This is exactly the opening 50 Blessings has been waiting for. With the support of their powerful friend, who turns out to be a U.S. Army general, they stage a coup and kill both the U.S. and Russian presidents. And with the support of the American people and control of the military, the U.S. Army general seizes power for himself and stands opposed to Russia. And now, 50 Blessings controls the U.S. government and can begin reshaping America in their image. However, the victory is short-lived, as shortly afterwards, Russia responds to the assassination of their president by declaring war on the U.S., which eventually escalates into a nuclear conflict, seemingly destroying the two countries. However, it seems this was an outcome 50 Blessings was prepared for. Depending on the actions of the player, Evan Wright can find a floppy disk in the belongings of one of the 50 Blessings volunteers that was killed. He takes these to a print shop and gets a list of addresses printed. Included in the list is the addresses of 50 Blessings building visited by Jake earlier in the game. Evan makes his way to the address, which now seems abandoned by 50 Blessings. However, he notices some peculiar things about the building. The front door is a heavy vault door, and the walls seem thick and lined with lead. When he wanders inside, he finds numerous bunk beds and a makeshift gymnasium and water reclaimer. It seems the building was built as a sort of nuclear bunker, meaning if the country was ever destroyed in a nuclear attack, 50 Blessings could live on. Maybe starting a nuclear war with Russia was their plan all along. Now, the leader of this militant group is a bit of a mystery, and the only information we really have is that it seems to be a U.S. Army general. Well, there's actually some evidence to suggest it's one of the characters in the game. There are some levels in the second game that take place during the Soviet-American War, specifically during the Hawaiian conflict. During these levels, we see the exploits of a special forces unit called the Ghost Wolves, which include Beard and Jacket. Now, the unit is led by a man known only as the Colonel, and in conversations with Beard, we can see that the Colonel is incredibly loyal to his troops, wanting to celebrate with them after a victory and telling them he's proud of them before their final mission. However, it seems the Colonel's commanders are set on wiping out the Ghost Wolves, as they keep sending the unit on suicide missions with the promise that it's the last one, and that political maneuvering is something the Colonel is visibly upset with. In another mission, we find that the Colonel is actually up for a promotion to Lieutenant General, which is actually the rank that is directly under General. However, when discussing the promotion with Beard, he doesn't seem very excited about taking the position, disappointed with the fact that the US is likely going to lose the Soviet-American War. It's possible in the years following the war, the Colonel could have been promoted to General, but is disillusioned with the position because the country isn't what he thinks it used to be, motivating him to restore it to its former glory. But perhaps the strongest evidence that the Colonel is the leader of 50 Blessings comes the night before the Ghost Wolves' last mission. While the boys are in their barracks discussing their mission, we can see a dead panther with its face carved off in the Colonel's bunker, and something has been drawn with his blood. A circle with 3 lines cutting through. Then the Colonel appears to his men, wearing the face of the panther with the same symbol carved into its face, proclaiming that all of them are animals, and although they are being manipulated by higher-ups, they all really enjoy the violence and destruction they cause. It's clear something has caused the Colonel to snap, and his speech about violence and manipulation could be seen as the birth of 50 Blessings. The Colonel keeps the idea of using the coded messages his soldiers used and uses them for the phone messages instead, and has people wear animal masks to represent the animals inside them as they are sent to attack Russians, the people whom he's grown to hate, fighting them in Hawaii, in an effort to get back the leaders of the country who betrayed him by sending his men to slaughter and allowing the Russians to reduce the country he loves to a shadow of its former self. All in order to restore America to its pre-war status. And that is 50 Blessings. Hopefully that was easy to follow and cleared up some confusion you may have had, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll try my best to answer them. But that's that, so thank you for watching and see you later. Hotline Miami was released in October of 2012 and introduced us to a world that bombarded our senses with bright neon colors, awesome music, and gruesome violence.